She had 15 minutes before they both froze to death. Maybe less. The thought came to Jennifer Hayes with surprising clarity as she sat on the concrete bench outside Denver's Union Station. Her 4-month-old son tucked inside her hoodie, skin to skin, because that's what the nurse at the hospital had told her months ago. Keep him close. Keep him warm. But the nurse had never explained what to do when you had no walls. No heat. Nothing but the clothes you escaped in and the pre-dawn cold that turned your breath into ghosts. The city was waking up around her. A slow crescendo of car engines and distant conversations. The smell of fresh coffee drifting from the cafe across the street, where she used to grab lattes before work meetings. That life felt like someone else's dream now. The people streaming past her, checking their phones, adjusting their scarves, they existed in a different dimension. She'd become background noise. A cautionary tale they'd scroll past online later. Jennifer's arms had gone numb 20 minutes ago, but she couldn't tell if it was from the cold or from holding baby Caleb in the same position for the last 6 hours. His breathing was shallow, too shallow, and every few minutes she'd press her frozen fingers to his tiny chest just to feel the flutter of his heartbeat. Still there, still fighting. 3 months ago, she'd had everything figured out. A marketing job she loved, a downtown loft, a fiancé who seemed perfect until the night she told him she was pregnant. His mask slipped so fast it gave her whiplash. The anger came first, then the threats, then his hands around her throat while he told her exactly what would happen if she didn't take care of it. She ran the next day with nothing but her laptop and a suitcase. Reported him, got the restraining order, did everything right, except the legal process doesn't pay rent. And taking maternity leave from a startup meant coming back to find her position restructured. The severance lasted 6 weeks. The shelters had 6-month waiting lists. Her parents were dead. Her friends were his friends. And pride became a luxury. She couldn't afford the day she spent her last $17 on diapers. Now, watching her baby's lips turn blue, Jennifer did something she swore she'd never do. She prayed. Not the pretty prayers from childhood, but the raw, desperate kind that comes from realizing you're about to watch your child die and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Please, anyone, I just need help. Just this once. Just enough to save him. If you believe that miracles still happen on ordinary sidewalks, that strangers can become angels when we need them most, please pause right now to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us share stories that prove humanity isn't lost, just hiding in unexpected places. And trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. 20 feet away, a man had stopped walking. His name was David Park, 41. A single father raising twin daughters after his husband died in a car accident 4 years earlier. He was running late for a deposition, his 4th coffee in hand, his mind already rehearsing opening arguments. But something made him look left instead of straight ahead. Maybe it was the way the morning light caught the woman's face. Maybe it was the memory of his own rock bottom. Those nights after James died when he'd sat in their daughter's room at 3 a.m., wondering how he'd survive the next hour, let alone the next 18 years. Whatever it was, it stopped him cold. He saw her trembling, saw the way she was curved around something, protective and desperate. Then he saw the tiny hand that emerged from her hoodie, fingers splayed, grasping at nothing. Everything else fell away. The deposition, the traffic, the phone buzzing in his pocket. None of it mattered. He'd learned something in the years since losing James. That grief either teaches you to look away or forces you to see everyone's pain as clearly as your own. David walked toward her, slow and deliberate, the way you approach something fragile that might shatter. Jennifer's head snapped up, her eyes wild with the kind of fear that comes from too many people who've looked at you like you're garbage. He didn't blame her. The world had clearly taught her to expect the worst. David didn't say anything at first. He just took off the wool overcoat his late husband had bought him, the expensive one he only wore to court, and held it out like an offering. Jennifer stared at it, then at him, her brain clearly struggling to process kindness after weeks of cruelty. "Your baby's cold," David said simply, his lawyer voice stripped away, leaving only the father underneath. "This'll help. Please take it." Her eyes filled but didn't spill. Her hands, shaking so violently she could barely control them, reached for the coat like it might disappear if she moved too fast. When she wrapped it around both of them, tucking it carefully around Caleb's tiny body, the baby made a sound that wasn't quite a cry but wasn't quite relief either. Just existence. Just still here. David sat down beside her without asking. The bench was freezing through his suit pants, but he didn't care. The silence between them stretched out, not awkward but necessary. The kind that says I see you and you don't have to explain yourself. Jennifer couldn't process it. For 3 weeks, people had looked through her like glass, crossed streets to avoid her, called security when she tried to warm up in building lobbies. Yet here was a stranger in a $2,000 suit sitting on a frozen bench beside her like she mattered, like her pain was worth his time. She looked down at Caleb, finally warming up, his color returning slowly, and something inside her cracked open. The story came tumbling out. Not all of it, but enough. The violence, the job loss, the bureaucratic maze that swallowed desperate people whole. David listened the way James used to listen, fully present, not formulating responses while she talked. When she finished, her voice hoarse and breaking, he nodded slowly. There's a family shelter in Lakewood, about 20 minutes from here. They have space today because I volunteer there on weekends and I know the director. Let me drive you, right now. Jennifer's instinct was to refuse, to say no, to protect herself the way she'd learned to protect herself. But Caleb made a soft sound against her chest, and she realized her fear mattered less than his survival. The walk to David's car felt surreal, like she'd stepped sideways into someone else's life. He offered her his coffee. She shook her head. He offered her a granola bar from his briefcase. She took it, eating half before remembering she should probably save some. When he opened the passenger door of his Tesla, she almost laughed. 3 hours ago, she'd been calculating how many days they could survive outside. Now she was sitting in heated leather seats that probably cost more than her last paycheck. The city blurred past the windows as David drove, morning light turning the frost on trees into something almost beautiful. Caleb slept for the first time in hours, his breathing deep and even. Jennifer closed her eyes and let herself believe, just for a moment, that they might actually be okay. The shelter David took them to looked like a regular house from the outside, a converted Victorian painted cheerful yellow. Warm air and the smell of pancakes hit her when the door opened. The woman who greeted them, a fierce-looking Puerto Rican woman named Carmen, took one look at Jennifer and Caleb and her expression softened immediately. Another one found their way home, she said quietly, already reaching for blankets. Jennifer was given a private room, small but clean, with a crib and a rocking chair and a window that let in actual sunlight. They brought her soup, brought formula, brought the kind of practical help that felt like science fiction after weeks on the street. She turned to thank David, but he was already halfway out the door, late for his deposition, his life waiting for him. He paused in the doorway, looked back, and said something she'd never forget. "You're going to rebuild from this. I promise you that. And when you do, you'll be stronger than you ever imagined." Then he was gone, and Jennifer was left holding his coat, crying for the first time since this nightmare began. Not sad tears. The other kind. The kind that comes from remembering what hope feels like. The next 2 months moved fast. Carmen connected her with emergency custody lawyers, helped her file for assistance, got her enrolled in a job training program for medical coding. Jennifer threw herself into it like her life depended on it, because it did. Every morning she'd kiss Caleb goodbye at the shelter's daycare, attend her classes, study during his naps, apply for jobs during every spare minute. The other women became her family, trading childcare and encouragement and the kind of dark humor that comes from surviving the unsurvivable. And every night before bed, she'd fold David's coat and place it on the chair beside her bed. It had become more than fabric. It was proof that not everyone was cruel, that help still existed if you held on long enough to find it. By summer, everything had shifted. Jennifer landed a remote position with a healthcare company, moved into a subsidized apartment, set up Caleb's nursery with secondhand furniture that felt like a palace. Life wasn't perfect, wasn't easy, but it was theirs. Caleb was crawling now, grabbing at everything, laughing at dust particles floating in sunbeams. She'd take him to the park and watch him discover grass and think about the bench where they almost died and feel dizzy with gratitude. One Saturday morning, she was buying groceries when she saw him, David, standing in the cereal aisle with two girls who had to be his daughters, debating the merits of different brands with the kind of serious focus only kids can muster. Her heart stopped, then started again twice as fast. She pushed her cart over before she could overthink it. He looked up, recognized her immediately, and his whole face transformed. "Jennifer," he said, sounding genuinely amazed. She looked completely different, healthy and whole and present. "I never got to really thank you," she said, her voice stronger than it had been that morning. "What you did, I mean, it literally saved our lives." David shook his head firmly. "No, you saved your own life. I just gave you a coat and a ride. You did everything after that." Jennifer's throat tightened. She looked at his daughters, who were studying her with curious eyes. "They're beautiful," she managed. David's smile went sad around the edges. "They miss him every day, but we're learning how to be happy again." They stood there in the cereal aisle, two people who'd been destroyed by life and rebuilt by compassion, while shoppers moved around them like water around stones. Before they parted, Jennifer pressed something into his hands. A gift bag containing the coat, professionally cleaned and wrapped in tissue paper, and a children's book she'd written and illustrated herself about a boy who learns that angels don't have wings. They have warm coats and kind eyes. David's voice cracked when he spoke. "Kindness isn't something you repay, Jennifer. It's something you pass forward until it circles back around." That night, Jennifer sat in Caleb's room watching him sleep in his crib, in their apartment, safe and warm and alive. She thought about the bench, the cold, the moment she'd accepted they might not survive. And she made a promise that she would never, ever walk past someone suffering, that she would be someone's David when the universe gave her the chance. Years later, when Caleb started first grade, Jennifer spent every Sunday at Carmen's shelter, sitting with new arrivals, offering them resources and hope and the knowledge that this isn't forever. When people asked why she dedicated so much time, she'd smile and say, "Because someone stopped for me when everyone else kept walking." David's coat hung in her closet, never worn. A reminder that grace exists, that second chances are real, that humanity survives in the smallest acts of courage. And sometimes, on the coldest mornings, she'd drive past that bench at Union Station and see someone sitting there, shivering, hopeless, and she'd pull over, walk up slowly, and say the words that had saved her life. "You're not alone. Let me help." Because that's how kindness works. It doesn't end. It multiplies. It circles back when you least expect it, changing everything one choice at a time. If this story reminded you that good people still exist, that miracles happen on ordinary sidewalks, please like, share, and subscribe. Every interaction helps us reach someone who needs to know they're not forgotten. Comment below, "I believe in kindness."